Okay, now to a father who many say did what he had to do to protect his young daughter.
That father claims he saw another man molesting his 4-year-old little girl, so he beat that man to death. What happened near Shiner Saturday afternoon has a lot of you talking and many of you agreeing with what the father did. Eyewitness News reporter Deborah Wrigley is there live with more on the investigation and reaction. Deborah?
Alona, we've all heard stories about parents discovering after the fact that their children have been assaulted. This is a case of a young father allegedly catching the suspect in the act. Saturday afternoon, between the towns of Shiner and Gonzales, a 47-year-old handyman showed up at a farm to help with some horses. At some point, the sheriff says the 23-year-old father who lives at the farm said he heard his daughter crying for help. She's only 4 years old.
So when he heard the screaming, and he ran out there to see what was wrong with his daughter.
The sheriff says her underwear had been removed and that the father hit the man's head with his fist, killing him. And no one in Shiner is second-guessing his actions.
A couple friend of mine were sitting right there, and we discussed what little we knew about it, and I frankly said, I'd give the guy a medal.
When he saw that, I think it's justified. I'm sorry, but I totally think it's justified. What would you do if it's your child?
It was 2012 when Barajas and his sons were pushing their truck down this street south of Houston after they ran out of gas. Investigators say Banda hit the boys right in front of their father.
Is it a kid that got run over?
Yes, he is bleeding badly. He is badly hurt.
Okay. Is he breathing?
I don't know. It's fatal.
That's when investigators say an enraged Barajas ran home to grab a gun and execute the 20-year-old drunk driver on the
In his mind, he thinks he's doing a good thing. To him, it's ethical. But society will not think it's ethical because he's not God. And society has to make the decision whether or not to, well, once he's convicted, what to do with him. But society will say, no, he's wrong. If he gets caught, he's arrested for killing another serial killer. Even though society may say, hey, thank you, he's still not ethical, according to society.
As a criminal justice professor, I'm going to say no, because two wrongs don't make it right. Martin Luther King once said, an eye for an eye leaves two people blind. So for us to take the law into our own hands and do something outside the scope, extra legally, just because we feel good, is not the way to go. Dirty Harry, played by Clint Eastwood, would often take the law into his own hands so that he could retrieve the lost child or find the missing evidence. The problem with that is it's using the law to your for your own benefit, and it's not legal. So oftentimes people's constitutional rights are being trampled because we want to find the right solution. The popular answer would be, sure, you find the killer and you find out that the killer has killed 4 or 5 people, and there's no sympathy for the killer, and so taking the killer out back and shooting him, nobody has a problem with. Nobody has sympathy for the sex offender, the individual who kidnaps a child, kidnaps, rapes repeatedly, and murders. When we find this person, nobody would think twice if that child's parent went and killed the sex offender. So as far as a criminal justice professor, no, it's not right. From a personal perspective, I would like to think that I'm better than that and would not act out. But when something happens personally, you can't necessarily control your behavior. I don't agree with it ethically. I don't agree with it morally. I still think that our criminal justice system needs to be utilized. I still think our criminal justice system needs to, it has enough teeth to be able to take care of the bad guy, I still think that we need to let justice work its way out rather than taking the law into our own hands, because to be frank, if we all took the law into our own hands, we'd have a lot more senseless death, and I think we can't allow it, and I personally I can't condone it.
No, it is not ethical because two wrongs do not make a right. If killing's wrong, it's always wrong.